So we know that man was, first of all, we know that man was made from the dust of the earth, right? God made man from the dust of the earth and blew life into him, into his nostrils, and he became a living soul. And we know
Hmm.
that when we die, we return to the earth. From the dust you were made, from the dust you shall return, right? So just from that, for example, I can go, I know I'm not a ray of light, right? Yes, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created light. There's all kinds of theories about light and how it travels, and we're all molecules. We're all expressions of light. We all have an inner light inside of us. Yes, but I know in a physical plane, on a reality basis, I am a I'm made from the dust of the earth. I'm physical matter. Made from the dust of the earth means I have a physical body. I have a material body. Yes, I have a spirit. Yes, I have a soul. There's other sort of higher realms which we understand differently on different levels. But I know for sure, for a fact, that I have a physical body. And I know that you have a physical body. And I know into that body is breathed some sort of intellect, some sort of mind, spirit, and soul. Okay. So in that sense, and that's the definition of man. What I see people doing is taking the definition of human and construing it into man. Maybe a mixture of curiosity, maybe a mixture of dissatisfaction with the answers we've been given, maybe an inner longing for a deeper meaning in life. Hard to put my finger on it, but I would categorize things. I would say I'm a mathematical person. I have
Yeah.
a super I have a super neurotic sort of deep set personality,
Analytical.
but I'm analytical in the sense that it has to make sense. And I was never satisfied with it's just random or it's spiritual. Like I have a spiritual background where it's like you just pray for it. If it all goes to pot, well, maybe that was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to suck. Hey, if it goes great, oh well, look at that. The gods smiled on us. I just know in the bottom of my heart that that's not the way it works. So that there has to be some rhyme and reason and law. That's what started my hunger for law.
That
Like, what is the
dictates
actual
existence.
law? Yeah. What are the building blocks that make up this reality in an actual way that's definitive? Not like, oh, Micah, you have an interpretation of it. That's beautiful, and I have an interpretation of it, and Sally over there has an interpretation of it, and we're all just sort of floating around haphazardly going through life and experiences. And it's just sort of sometimes it blows up in our face, sometimes it's an accident, sometimes it feels good, but we have no real base to stand on any given topic. For me, I can't live that way. I can't live that. There has to be some place we all land our planes at night and go, okay, this is the bunker. Sure, we can go out and explore, but it's like, so there's no home base.
Yeah.
There's no law that is there's no one plus what there's no 1 plus 1 is 2. For me, 1 plus 1 has to equal 2. And if 1 plus 1 equals 2, a lot of this stuff is like algebra. So like, in an algebra equation, you're trying to solve A or B, but you're given just enough information that there's an equation where you can solve all the variables. I see very much how this life is. Everything's in plain sight. All the truth is there. And there's just enough truth that if you connect all the dots, you can solve the mysteries of the universe, the mysteries of life. It is there. But you have to know, okay, these brackets, we take them away by multiplying. Like, you have to know the rules of algebra in order to solve the algebra equations. Do you see what I mean? We've been purposely misled, I would say. Like we grow up sort of thinking, there's math, but is there? And nobody knows how to solve for A. Everyone's guessing like 1 plus A equals this, and we're all guessing what A might be. So one conspiracy will say A is light. Another guy will say it's a computer program. One guy will say A is infinity. A is a
Mm.
dream. Like, we're all trying to guess what this missing thing is. And if we look at the equation carefully, there must be enough information for us to definitively identify A. Otherwise, 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 any truth seeker is just guessing and just poking in the dark. Do you see my
Yeah.
approach there?
Yeah. So you've been trying to scrape away all the rhetoric that isn't true source code, and anything that you think is a variant or an offshoot of whatever the original intent or the original scripture, the original gospel was. And so there's people that study the law, but you're basically just trying to go back to the origins of everything. And so in order to determine how the law works, it's like who's subject to the law and who wrote the laws, what are the what's the true restrictions, what's the basis of it all, and you're as soon as you see something that smacks of a construct or a more recent addition to the origin story, you put that aside and then just go deeper, and you come all the way down to the word man, and that is what we're going to start talking about today. It's okay, is man subject to the laws of man? Or I guess where the entire search for truth starts, does it start with who man is, or is there a level below that? Or just for my own structuring of how to even pose questions, is at what level of origin story does the concept of man come in? Like God, I guess, is
well,
before that, and then the creation of man.
In my understanding now of what man is, which is a completely different thing than probably what most people think, I would tell you man is the answer to one of the five universal questions of what am I? So in my quest to find out what I am, I've realized I am man. But as you can imagine, that understanding of man came through years and years and years of researching all the way back. Do you know what I mean? So like, man, hey, me and you are men. We know we're men, but through language and through definitions and deception and manipulating of the minds and the modern society we live in, our concept of what man is in its rawest, purest form has changed. Man is a living soul. Man has a sentient knowledge. Man means a lot to me. But yes, in the search to the origin, it begins with man. Like, to answer your question, it begins with man and realizing we are man, but what is man? Because what modern day society defines as man, or what a law book defines as man, is not really man in his natural form or in his purest form. But having said that, this is another thing to remember. The eyes don't lie, meaning you have two ways to see, right? You can see with your eyes, with your physical eyes, and you can see in your mind's eye, which is how you perceive reality through the mind. So always remember, you could have concepts in your head of all kinds of visual constructs or applications or theories, but the eyes themselves won't lie. And if I just look at you, just based off what my eyes are telling me, I'm looking at a man. The truth is right in front of us. Like, am I looking at a man or am I looking at a human? And then that brings me into human and what human is and how. Do you see what I mean? Am I looking? I'll tell you this. It is a logical fact that I can't be looking at both. I can't be looking at a man and a human, which is what I was going to say about how I realized that a human and a man are different.
Okay,
Because
so let's define.
it's a logical fallacy to say that a man and a human are one and the same. That's impossible. And when you're trying to find deep seated truths, you always go up against impossibility. You find out what's the impossible variable. That way you can scratch it out. Just like, well, it's impossible that A is 5 million. I know A is not 5 million because 1 plus A equals 3. So A can't be in the billions. You know what I mean? Like you go with what it's not. And I know for a fact that two words can't be identifying one object. And I can explain how that works. I can explain on a quantum grammar level, how the words, by nature of them sounding different, they have a different vibration, they have a different frequency, they have a different spelling. One has a prefix and a root word, human. One is just man in its raw form. There's no prefix or suffix. So just from the character, so to speak, just from the writing of that symbol, I know there are two entities being identified here, not one. So if someone said to me, "Oh, you're a human and you're a man, they're one and the same," I would say, no, they're not. They sound different. They're spelt differently. They by virtue of the fact that there's two things we're calling one, I know there's two things. If they were one thing, there'd be one thing, wouldn't there? So if you say human and man are one, no, they're not. That's impossible. Do you see what I mean? Because two is not one. Two words is not the same as one word. So like I can break it down and crunch it down into the most basic logic. Do you see what I mean?
If someone's doing that, are they thinking of man being male and then human being species? So if you have like dog and then you have male dog, that is technically the same thing. And so if man is a definition for or if man is a definition of male,
well,
has that use been
God made man in his own image. Male and female made he them. So Maria is also man.
Man predates human. So is the species then man? Like there's a species of man, not the species of human?
The concept of a species is also a man-made categorization of creation. Man is a creation. We are what was made. We're the physical matter that was created or made.
They made dogs and they made elephants and they made all these other living entities that we think may even have souls were made, but a cat is not man.
Right, a cat's not man.
A horse is not man.
Yes, no. I know it sounds crazy what we're saying, but you're right on.
But then,
and for example, I am not a tree, and I know that definitively. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if someone said, "Well, Martin, how do you know you're not an experience in this body, but really your soul or your spirit is a tree?" Do you see what I mean? You have to get to the point where you're like, no, man is not cat. Man is not beast of the field. Man is not sea creature. Man is, you know what I mean? Man is made male and female. So there's a male expression of man, which is like us. We have the male characteristics, and there's a female expression of man. But as a creation, we are man. And man is made in the image of God. Nothing else is made in the image of God. So if you want to go to the higher source of enlightenment, isn't it great that we're the species that's kind of made in the image of God, which is creator, sovereign, maker, ruler? I just use the word God, but I could give you 20 words that are synonyms of God.
Yeah.
If God sort of trips some people and they think all of the religious indoctrination they've had growing up, I completely understand that.
Originator, Gaia, whatever.
The religions are basically in charge of manipulating your perception of God. So even the word God is basically contaminated now. But if you can understand that God is creator, great spirit, like he has no name, to be honest. And I can explain to you why he has to have no name. Because name, that's a whole nother thing if we go into name.
Okay,
and
so sticking with man, so one thing we know of man is he is made in the image of God. And then what is another identifying feature of man, or what's another?
And he was made from the dust of the earth. So he has matter. Like man is not a spirit. Man is not a ghost. Man is not a phantom. It's not a concept. Human is a concept. Human is a fictional, like I can see humans in my mind's eye, but only man is made of the dust of the earth. We're made of matter. We're made of.
How are you seeing? What do you mean you're imagining? But aren't you then just imagining men or man?
You'd
How?
think that. You would think that because, and you'd be right, because you need a man to embody a human, because a concept or a fiction doesn't exist. It's impossible to see it. Which should tell you that if you ever see anybody with your eyes and you say, "Hey, are you a human?" and they go, "Yeah, yeah, I'm a human." The only way they could tell you they're a human is if they're a man,
Mm,
because only men have physical bodies. So unless you're talking to a ghost or a spirit, unless you're having a spirit trip, you're talking to a man. Man was created. Concepts that we can create in our mind are not physical. They don't exist. So
oh,
man can create concepts. Like we've created entire law books, entire fields of law from our intellect. But the
yeah.
field of law doesn't exist in the physical reality we live in. It only exists in our minds. That's what imagination is. You know, the whole like casting down imagination. We can create like God with through words, through word magics, through concepts, but they don't exist in reality. So so man, you know, God spoke the world into existence, right? So God uses the words to speak in reality into existence. Man does a similar thing, except we don't have the God power to create matter out of nothing. So we just speak our reality into existence, kind of like manifestation. We have the power of manifestation, but we can't manifest from nothing. We can't create matter because matter
Mm,
cannot be created or destroyed. It's also a scientific principle of law. So what we do is we redefine the creation, the original creation, into our image. So we say what we are. We name ourselves. We name our food. We name our country. We name our reality. We label everything into our modern civilized society. Does that make sense? Through
yeah.
words. And human is a definition, a man-made definition for God's creation,
Mm,
God's essence of creation, which is
okay.
actually
Are
man.
there any other identifying features or factors that that distinguish man, or that so it's made in the image of God, it's made from the dust of the earth, it is
It has a soul.
a living, breathing thing with a
It has a
soul.
soul. So we have souls, unless we're like, remember you were talking about Sims, and maybe there's bots or clones. You know, all these conspiracy theories that go into cloning, and maybe there's some people that have been cloned, and they're basically, well, the theories are there's reptilians, or there's clones, or there's some adaptations where men and people have been genetically modified. If those things do exist, they wouldn't have souls, which is why they say, you know, like a vampire has no soul in all
Yeah, the
those
other,
people, uh and what would you call those, you know, all those myths and sort of historical, and a dragon can steal your soul, and the whole symbolism of the dragon and the blood sucker, the blood has the soul, which is why the vampire has to feed off the blood, because he has no soul. You know what I mean? Like all that sort of um
mm,
folklore and medieval witchcraft and stuff like that.
yeah, I was listening to something the other day and they were talking about how like the word alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-kul, which actually means body eating spirit. And they were talking about how most people when they have sex these days, they're having sex after getting blackout drunk.
Alcohol.
And so it's basically two demons fucking each other. And whatever is born of that experience could be a
Mm.
soulless person, because
Ooh.
alcohol, a body sucking spirit, is it's taking you away from who your truest self is. Like your core soul being is becoming completely altered by
You're
alcohol.
intoxicated. Yeah.
Alcohol. So if you have two, like, the act of sex between two souls can be a very
And
powerful
that
thing.
alcohol would be in your cells. It would be, you'd be soaked in it, because when you drink alcohol, it goes all through your blood, all through your cells. It would be in your sperm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
So there's a
all
physical
the
side to it, and there's a spiritual side to it.
yeah. And so
But
they were
but
saying that.
I'll point one thing out. It's the it's like two demons having sex, right? But if somebody were to run in the room and open the curtains and turn the lights on, would there physically be two demons there?
No,
No,
it would be these two
exactly.
men
Because it's
fucking
men,
each other.
because it's, well, it would be man, or in one male, one female doing whatever they're doing. You see? So if you look at if you look at creation, okay, the story of, show me where the demons were made.
The Nephilim or the
Show me where
oh,
any
Nephilim is a construct, or
No, I just mean, like, I'm pretty confident if I heard people having sex and they were drunk and they were in a room and we were at a party and I went, goodness me, here come the demons. They're trying to make a soulless baby. I'm not going to have that. And I burst into the room with a bowl of holy water and I turned on the lights. I am 100%. When I say 100%, I mean I've gone all kind. I'm 100% sure I'd see a man and a woman in the bed. I would not see a demon. All these Catholics and these, they take the spirits out, and there's this whole thing that the spirit world can intermesh with the physical plane, and a demon could manifest, and you could see a demon physically in the physical plane. That's all. I mean, I'm at the point where, come on, let's get real. There's no, or you know what I mean? Like all of these stories of, I turned the light on and I blinked, and for a moment it was a red-eyed lizard, and then I blinked again and it went back to my boss, and I went, "Oh, hey, boss." And then I, on the bus going home, I thought, man, my boss must be a reptilian. Like all these sort of really out there reports of these sort of sightings. I can guarantee you that they're all just a bunch of baloney. You cannot
yeah.
see with your eye something that doesn't exist. You cannot see a fiction. You can see it in your mind. Do you see how the witchcraft all happens here? Sorcery all
Mm,
happens here. But if it's here so strong, it may take over your physical eyes. But it's impossible to see it with your physical eyes.
mm.
Does that make sense? So I just want to point that out real quickly. It's like two demons having sex, doing that. Like that theory of alcohol is completely scientifically explainable. What I'm trying to do is bring any discussion we have away from spiritualism or voodoo or magic, because all of those things are contrary to law and sound principles and logic, which is what you're really going to want to stand on. All of the voodoo and sort of spiritualism and demon sightings and all of that, I think those people are nuts.
Well, yeah. I mean, just like you're just like you were qualifying the word God versus, like, I think demon can, like, I don't know what the
Spirit,
origin of that
mind
word is,
altering spirit, right? Which
but
brings your mind into a heightened sense. Yes, that's probably exactly what a demon is. But my whole life, I grew up thinking a demon was something that could be in the
they're not
closet
some
with
like
fangs.
hunchback.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's basically just an altered version
that's
of
right.
our normal selves.
So,
The
so any kind of discussion that goes into demons or things that are flying around up in the sky, hovering over your house, I'm like, no, 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 no. Listen, like I have to bring things back to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so man has a soul. Um, and is there anything else that
So
identifies man?
this is one point I just want to hammer home that I had in my notes from another discussion I had. Do you see the one I do you see the part where I was saying man, like you're saying, what's the distinct element of man? So he has a soul, he made of the dust of the earth,
Image of God.
he's in the image of God. And I'll give you another one, a fourth one. He's spelt M-A-N. Okay, that's a distinct symbol, that's a distinct sound, that's a distinct um new, like that's a distinct number if you break down each letter into the number it is on the alphabet, etc., etc. So that
Mm,
let's call that a vibration. It's a frequency, right? Because remember, God spoke us into existence. So we are a
okay.
frequency of light, but our our channel or our vibration is man, M-A-N. If you add a prefix like human, you are altering. You are like, do you see how there's no way that a human can be exactly what a man is? No, it's an alteration. It's an adaptation in terms of frequency, in terms of sound, in terms of spelling, in terms of definition in the dictionary, in terms of legal consequences, in terms of legal application, in terms of mind viewing. Because when I see man, I see something. When I see human, it might be very similar, but it's there to deceive me. I'll see something slightly different. And we've all been brought off course by multiple words that are slightly different. It's the little bit of poison that kills the rat in good food, right? So if I buy into human, I might as well buy into this and this, and then I find myself in a totally different mind space, which is why I'm saying go back to man and understand clearly what makes man and human different. Once you understand that concept, you could apply it to any group of words. You could go God, King, Sovereign, Father. We say God. God is the creator of all things. Okay, what does sovereign mean? And then you could look at sovereign. Sovereign means nothing higher. There is nothing higher than the sovereign. Well, don't you think God is by default the sovereign? You see, like once you sort of, I'm saying it's all through words that you gain the clarity. And human and man. Oh, and then this is the other one I wanted to say. Sorry, just gonna slow down a little bit.
No, that's like we'll come back to anything that's not clear. But so what's the next? What was the other thing?
When I was doing this, I likened it to sofa and couch. Sofa and couch. My whole life we called them couch, right? The soft things you sit on. Somebody else calls them sofa, the soft things we sit on. Is sofa the same as couch? Is the word sofa and couch, are they synonymous? Do they mean the exact same thing?
No.
Well, exact, and then what I want people to get is they can't be. It's impossible. If they meant the exact same thing, they would be the exact same word. It's like you have to reach a point of impossibility with it and go, by very virtue of there being a word sofa, I guarantee you there's a distinction. In the dictionary, they'll say sofas are of a lower stature and they generally lean back, whereas a couch was traditionally made of wood and it could have had wooden upholstery on the side with a leather traditional. Like, I guarantee you, if you deep dive the words sofa and couch, we use them interchangeably today in modern English, just like we use man and human interchangeably in modern English. But I guarantee you those words, there's a reason and there's a distinction for them. What, where the word sofa comes from and where the word, you know what I mean, couch comes from. Kind of like wardrobe and closet, right? Wardrobe comes from when the man would go into war, he would put his armor in a cabinet. And so that would be the wardrobe. He would open it and he would take his battle axe and he would put his helmet on. That was the wardrobe. In Mulan, where Mulan sneaks into the wardrobe and puts on her father's battle garments, right? That's a wardrobe. But then there's a cupboard, and cupboard was traditionally for brooms or for sticks or cups. For tools, for cups, right? For cupboard, yeah, for kitchen appliance. So now I can say, oh, that's a cupboard or that's a wardrobe. But do you see how the sound, the spelling, the vibration, the etymology of those words are not the same. So I know in a quantum grammar sense or in a legal sense, a lawyer can use that to deceive me. He knows the distinction between a cupboard and he knows the distinction between a wardrobe. And he'll say, what did you see? Can you, Micah, can you recall your experience of the evening? Was he here? And as you describe it, there could be a little thing that's a little different with that word than that word.
Yeah.
And you're describing what you see, and he goes, oh, but did you really see that? You know what I mean? So it's all word distinctions. And one of the points I want to drive home is if the word is different, it's not the same. Different
so
and
throw
same.
synonyms out the window. Like we're done with synonyms?
Well, I know in everyday English, we use synonyms interchangeably. And a lot of times a group of synonyms can help us gain understanding of a word. But a word is just there to communicate a meaning. That's all its job is. So all we want to know is we're getting the meaning. We're getting the original meaning. We're not being deceived by a concept in between, which is preventing us from reaching higher understanding. So the goal is just get that word, and you can even put it in a group of synonyms, which is all there to help you understand the meaning. Like if I said God, King, Sovereign, Father, Owner, Creator, those are all
Ruler.
things. Yeah, ruler. To me, that mean most high, King of Kings, nothing higher, the top authority, top jurisdiction, um, un 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 unattainable jurisdiction, unrefutable jurisdiction, irrefutable knowledge, irrefutable power. Like those words to me, king is the sovereign, means there's nothing higher. Ruler, owner, creator. If you created it, there's nothing higher than you. Like if I create something, this thing cannot be higher than me. I bloody created it. It can't tell me what to do, right? So like, and all those words are just to communicate a meaning. The core thing I'm trying to explain with man and human is man gives us a meaning that we need to understand, and human has been introduced to subvert us from that meaning, to misguide us into thinking we're all kinds of stuff, like Homo
Okay.
sapien, human rights, a hue of light. Like you could go down all kinds of
Okay. Well,
voodoo.
wait. So is there any other? So man has a distinct symbol, and the idea. So to sum it up, like man and man from man as the entity that we're describing is the is how we define our
Oh, I got another one, Micah.
existence or our
Yes, I've got a fifth attribute to man. This is just
okay.
coming to me. It's just coming to me because as you said that, who made man? Man is distinct in that he was made by God. So what does that make man?
Well, we
Who
already
who
said he
made,
was made in the image of God,
but okay, he's made in the image of
and then
God.
made by God.
Switch out God to Father. Who is man a son of? Who's the
Um,
father of man?
God.
Right. So are you not a son of God if you are a man? Ah, but we all think Jesus is the son of God, right?
So man is a
So
copy of
man has
God. Man is
another
the son of
distinct
God.
title. Man is the offspring of God.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big one. So he has a soul. He has it's a different word. He's made of the dust of the earth, but he also has a maker. A human has no maker. A human is a self-made. Look up, read the Humanist Manifesto. Read the definition for human. A human is an evolved amoeba that has no definitive maker or identity. It was a haphazard accident through the Big Bang. Nothing
Yeah.
created a human. A man has an identity and a birthright because he has a maker and a father and a king. If God, I mean, like I said, I'm using the word God. If pure light or pure love, however you understand God, made man, are we not his offspring? Are we not his children? And is that light and that you see how man is so different than human? Man has a birthright. Man has an owner. Man has a king. Man has a father. Man has an identity. Man is part of a family. Because if God made man and we're his children, he's our father. Isn't that a family? Isn't that a father-son relationship? And remember, whatever God creates, the same pattern exists throughout all of reality, all of creation. So if you ever want to check if that's real, look at the downstream effects of the creation. Is that not what we do? We make children. You're a father, I'm a father, right? Like when you have kids, the circle of life repeats. The circle of life and of energy and of time is in a cycle, and it gives the same symbolism through it. So anyway, that's kind of a deeper thing. But at fifth attribute of man, he is the creation of God. And when you have a baby, is that not your creation? You and your wife made that baby. So Adam and Eve, if you believe in them in a physical sense or in a metaphoric sense, were the children of God. And you see how everyone goes, no, 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 only Jesus is God's son. Well, it would be great if the church could tell you only Jesus was God's son, because then that moves you out of the position of being one of God's sons. Then we can make you something different because we've redefined what it means to be a son of God. There's only one of those and he died, he's gone, right? But hey, you can pray to him, you can worship him, but you're a grimy little sinner. You're a little snotball that needs to pay tenance to the church, right? Well, hang on. If I'm man and I'm made in the image of God, use logic, use definitive logical thinking. Man, I'm man made in the am I a man? Yes. Well, isn't man made in the image of God? So am I not a son of God? And they'll go, oh, no, 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 you're not. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Only Jesus was that. Do you see? Do you see how
Well,
that's
I
a
mean,
very,
the Buddha teaches
very
that we're all
different?
gods, and then there's also like there's this there's a lot of people that are now realizing that you can achieve like God knowledge, God awareness. And I think
Well,
the
that would
spirit
all
of God is within you. You are the temple of God. Like there's a
right,
lot of people
and
that
that would all
realize
make
we are
sense if
all.
we're a creation of God, right?
Yeah.
Because we would have some of his attributes, just like your son or your daughter has some of your skills and some of your attributes. So if we're man made in the image of God, do you see how that's a totally, if people realized that they were made in the image of God and they were sons of God, man, I mean, I think world peace would stop pretty quick. Like if I'm sorry, I think world peace would be achieved much quicker. If
Yeah.
people realized, yeah, basically similar to what you were saying. And I think people are realizing it, that there is a God conscience within us, right? Well, how did that get there? How did the God conscious within us get there?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah. No, that all makes sense.
but there
Um,
is a distinction. I didn't say we are gods. I said we were sons of God. And anybody that has any grip on reality should feel their own body and go, I'm not God. And I'm not a little God. I'm man made of the dust of the earth with the spirit that was breathed into me, which is the life of God. Remember, God is the life giver. And the miracle of life, man has no ability to understand or comprehend. So the miracle of life, which is basically the breath of life that's breathed into man, is what makes us God-like. I didn't say God. It makes us like God because he's our progenitor. He's the one that made us. So we have his life and his likeness because we're made in his image. But that doesn't mean we're like I'm not saying we are of ourselves little gods. Which, do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying we have the God consciousness and we are capable of returning to the source of light and power and love, which is God, right? God is a spirit. He's uncomprehendable by the mind of man, but our soul can return to source. Because remember, we're physical beings. Like, come on, don't tell me you're not a physical being. You got to eat, right? You got to sleep. You get exhausted. Do you need a bit of coffee to wake you up? You got to use the toilet. We are physical beings, I guarantee you. The physical being holds, it's the carriage, it's the vehicle for the spirit. If the physical being can no longer sustain life, the life leaves. That's called death, right? When the soul leaves the body, you pass on, right? Which is why we take care of the temple, the body, with good food, with good exercise, with good rest, sleep, all those things, because our bodies are the temple of the Most High, which is the life force that's in us, which is pure love, pure light, etc., etc. But to say that man is a light expression, no, it's not. Man is made of the dust of the earth, and every guy that you'll ever talk to has has to be. You have to have a body. There is no soul or spirit without the body. Otherwise, you're talking to a ghost. anybody you've ever talked to. I guarantee you, he had a physical body.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
dust of the earth part. So man,
Hmm.
those 5 characteristics. Yeah, look at that. We just thought of 5 different characteristics for man. I would say one of the biggest ones is the source of man is the Most High, the King of Kings, the Father, the Heavenly Father, the Great Spirit, right? Just to reiterate, the source of man. The source of human is man, because human is a man-made construct definition. We are the father of human.
Okay.
So how do
So
you think the
man.
judge can rule over you in the courtroom? Because the judge as man made human. And are you not a human? Oh, look at that. I'm your daddy. I can rule over you.
Hmm.
I made you.
Okay.
Ironically enough, when you reach a deeper level of awareness, you'll go, huh, it's literally that simple. That's literally how jurisdiction works. But
Yeah. Yeah.
remember it goes, by your words you'll be justified and be condemned. By your words. All the judge has to say is, are you a human? Any humans here? Please stand up. The moment you stand up, oh, look at that. Jurisdiction. Because remember, humans were conceived, conceptualized by the mind of man. Man came
Are,
up with the concept of a human. And if you identify it as it, you are it. To be, that whole I say, therefore I am, I speak,
yeah.
therefore I am, that Shakespeare play. So when you embody it, when you say it, you become it. Obviously in a fictional witchcraft-like sense, but you're playing the role. You're personifying,
But
which
aren't
goes
we?
into the witchcraft.
We're just giving ourselves an identifier, though, right? We're
Yeah.
just.
Yes. Yes, but here's the thing with an identifier. You can't be and not be. That's why it's to be or not to be. You can't be this and be that. You can't be 2 entities. That's why it's you cannot serve God and mammon. There's no, like, if I'm doing
There's
algebra,
no
I can't go,
duality.
this is A, but I'll put a little B on the side because sometimes it's B. No, it's either A or B. When you have a baby in conception, it's either a little girl or a little boy. Do you see what I mean? It's black or white on the chessboard. It's you see what I mean? The
Hmm.
whole way the system of this reality works is it's this or that. So the moment you say I'm a human, you can't be a man as well, by virtue of you uttering the other vibration. You just said I am human. And but wait a minute, you were supposed to be you were supposed to be and now you're you can't serve 2 masters. So it's all done through those words and those definitions and those word magic, word
Hmm.
magic. And our indoctrination. Who in their right mind would say they're not a human? Most of my life I thought I was a human. Of course I'm a human. And I'm on the Enterprise, and we're going to the planet Vulcan, and we're gonna, meet the Vulcanites and the Klingons. Like this is the stuff we're grown up, learning
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time. So nobody knows
So
the true meaning of man, or what it means to be a man, and the jurisdiction of man and blah blah. No one knows that, right? So
so the foundation to separating yourself from the laws of, aren't they laws of man? They're not laws of humans. Is it laws
yes,
of
they're laws of
man
man. Yes.
that affect humans?
Good one, Micah.
Wait, what?
No, that's very good that you picked up on that, because you said, wait, I want to get out of that jurisdiction, but they're jurisdiction of man and we're man. Yeah, you see it. Yeah. There's some deep stuff just in that. Maybe you don't realize what you said, but you said something pretty interesting there.
Okay, so we gotta add that to our next, or be a topic for next time.
Because
Laws of man.
because man is governing human, isn't he? In a sense.
Yes. So there,
Yeah.
there's so we don't there's nothing, we never refer to the laws of humans, right? I don't think I've ever
No.
heard that.
No.
I'm governed by the laws of humans. No, it's I've never I've never heard that term.
No.
So we are governed by the laws of man. and that
We're governed by the laws of
dictates
man, but
of
watch.
man. Okay, then
If
man.
we're governed by the laws of man and we are man following the laws, does that not create a contradiction? That's B
Mm,
plus B. It can't be. So that's like we made this law that and we say you have to do it. And you turn around to me and go, why? Why do I have to do it? I go, because man said so. And you go, yeah, but I'm man. I say no, so. I say no. What exactly am I going to do to say, no, you have to do it? You see, man's law can't govern man. It can't because man made it. Man-made law cannot govern man. Hence the need for human. Hence
hence
the
the
need
straw
for,
man.
yes, hence, like, welcome the straw man to the stage. Welcome the legal fiction to the stage. Welcome the corporate account, the body corp. Because if we were all man in the legal system, we wouldn't be able to rule each other. Because
Mm.
all man is created equal. That's a maxim of law. Like, do you see what I mean? All man is created equal. So when you realize that the madness of the legal system and this whole thing where we live in, this whole matrix, is based on law and grammar and mathematics, you go,
Yeah.
holy crap, it all makes sense. There's a reason why all of this is the way it is. And then you go, I just have to learn the grammar. I just have to learn the rules. And once you see it, you'll go, oh, no one will ever trick me again because I know the building blocks. Like, why is it that we can't just make rules and self-govern? I'll tell you. Well, we just talked about it because we're not self-made. So if all men is created equal and we have, let's say, 4 men, he wants to tell him what to do. Well, what gives him the authority or the jurisdiction? All man is created equal. All these men are equal. I want to rob and steal from him. He wants to rob and steal from him. I tell on him. That's what you call chaos and anarchy. All man is created equal is chaos. That is a perpetual state of no ruler. There has to be law. There has to be one. There has to be sovereign. Otherwise, every man is a law unto himself. And that's every man as a law unto
So
himself
who do we
is
then answer to?
we the people have become one. So uno, like, out of one we are many. So all the men that were created equal, it's a self-evident truth, all man is created equal. We the people under this constitution, all the people become one. I mean, just read the founding father documents of the United States.
Yeah.
All the people after vanquishing the king, they didn't want that king, they didn't want that sovereign. They all
Yeah.
become one, and out of many, they are one nation under God, right? Then that nation births, issues citizens, humans, persons, taxpayers, whatever you want to call it, whatever's on the document, but it will never say man. It'll like there's no legal document that will say every man must, cut
Do
his
this
lawn.
or whatever.
Yeah, no.
So every
It's every
citizen must
citizen,
do
every
this.
tenant, every resident. I mean, I could give you a list of 20 words that basically mean creation of man: tenant, resident, a
And
card
so
holder.
all of those are subject to this universal, this universally decided on law that
No, all of those are
all
subject to man. They're all subject to their maker. Does the pot say to his maker, why hast thou made me thus? The pot has no jurisdiction to question the potter. Just like the license holder has no grounds to stand on to question the governor or the prince or the president or the state. The state issued those documents. The state birthed the legal fictions or the legal entities that all the citizens carry. It governs them. So every person, if you know what that word means, is subject to his maker, just like every son is subject to his father. All law is based on the father-son relationship. It's all father-son, father-son.
so
The
the
father,
idea is
by
that we as
virtue of
citizens
the
have
father,
relinquished our authority to this universal buy-in. Like if we're saying we're all citizens of, we are all one, and then we allow the
Everybody,
one to
yes,
create
everybody. That
citizens,
that that
then we
that is that is the nature of democracy, though. That is what a democracy is. It's all the people coming and putting their votes and putting their power of attorney as one into one house, which is Parliament or Congress. Their voice will be represented by their elected representative. Like this is the nature of governance. It all the people, all the men and women who are equal, all man is created equal. They are all voluntarily, knowingly
transferring their authority
transferring
to,
all power and authority to elected representatives that will give them a voice in the governance department, in the Senate, in the Congress.
right.
They have
So by
they have
them being
yes,
subservient to the law, it's a voluntary
yes.
thing that supposedly they are fully bought
The
into. And they're saying,
the
look, we
the
know we
thing
have
is the
authority, but we're relinquishing that authority.
we relinquish all authority. In any democracy, you relinquish all authority. Man has no authority. The thing is, they relinquish all their authority to the to the state, and the state can't turn around and govern them because they're man. So it needs to give them a new identity, which is why you're issued ID cards. Like every you know the concept of you have no face, you know, the faceless mask and the
Faceless man,
like
yeah.
if you go into any government department, any building, you cannot be recognized. They do not see you without government issued identity. In fact, you can't even get into a bar without ID, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Like you know, you got to really, I mean, we're jumping all over the place now, but why is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Have no face before their law. Now, obviously, you have a face and they can see it with their eyes, but the system can't see you. Like Neo, he's flying around and the agents are going, where is he? We can't see him because he's right. You have to be in their program. You have to be in their system. You have to be in their database. You have to be in order for
Yeah.
them to
You have to
recognize you.
exist in the realm of their authority for them to recognize you.
Right, but the
Yeah.
authority is really your authority. We're fighting a mirror. Their authority you gave them.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
asked to be governed. You see,
Or
it's a
you
cruel hoax,
supposedly
isn't it?
voluntarily. Yeah. And
Yes.
so then as the generations continue, we forget that we are the origin of the power. We
Oh,
forget that
yes.
we
The people
we
are the
gave the
batteries. The
power.
people. Yes.
And now the government has become so bloated
The
and
overreach now is,
gluttonous
yeah, crazy.
that
Just
people have even forgotten that they originated the system that they're subject to and that
they
they are
birthed it. Yes, it's
subservient
all a
to.
man-made
Yeah.
system. Man conceived it. Man thought of it. It was man's idea, and we basically gave birth to the state.
Yeah.
The state has then using their legal tentacles or legal, their legal means has been asked to govern us. So they've put their tentacles into man,
Yeah.
making man not
And
even man anymore. Now man's
they
human.
just
Man is subman,
continue. Yeah.
right? Because man has to be subservient to its creation. But do you see how retarded all of this is?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't make, yeah, it's
I
just
was
nuts.
watching a show today called Silo on Apple, and it's basically 140 years into the future, and it's this entire civilization. They're all living in a silo, and they can't, and they think the surface Earth is dangerous, and so they never go out there. But they're like, one of their mantras is, we don't know why we are here, we don't know how we came to be here, but we know we are here for our own good. And they basically willingly stay under the surface because in their minds it's like, no, back in there was a time when we were forced underground and we dare not go up to the top levels. And there's the all-powerful is called the judiciary, and they live on the very top floor. But
They make
the
laws.
point is, after it's been so long, people forget, like the babies of the babies
Yeah.
don't even know that there was a rebellion back in the day. And
Yeah.
then what
And
they
it's
do is
they get brought
they
up in that, you know?
they've
You live.
outlawed relics. So anything that is that it has a connection to the past is actually become outlawed. So if you have like an old watch or an old computer chip or
Yeah.
something, they're like, oh, you're not allowed to touch relics. And it's just the entire, it's supposed to be sci-fi, but it's like a completely plausible concept of how you have a slave race that is completely willing because they're just a generation away from when the act happened, or a couple generations away.
Their
And
grandfathers were the ones that set up the system that they now work for every day just to make ends meet.
yeah, they probably built the silo, and now they're like, oh, we don't even know how we're here. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, this is my only choice. I have to do this. But, and even looking at history, it's interesting to because you're like, oh, the history books are going to tell you this, and that's going to tell you exactly how history happened. But the way that even history from 3 weeks ago is viewed 5 different ways on TikTok.
Carried. Yeah.
It's like, who's telling the story? And even a story of something that, wait, I'm seeing this something get blown up in front of my face. It's like, no, actually that was an act of self-defense that is completely justified. And so imagine how convoluted history from 50 years ago, even like, we know for a fact, history from 50 years ago is not exactly, what was it, like, history belongs to the victors. And so whoever's telling the story is going to tell the story in their way. And
even the world wars, and who's to say Napoleon wasn't, who's to say these guys, weren't trying to do that? Like, well, history.
A big one is Nixon. Like, the amount of stuff on Nixon that actually shows he was going against the CIA. He was doing all this. There's all this stuff that basically makes you wonder, like, wait, what's the deal with Nixon? It's like, oh no, he was this horrible dude that, like, what overthrew Nixon and basically got him out of there in a hurry was like, not like Watergate was not a very it wasn't like so controversial, like what they actually got him on, but the way that they wiretapped, there was people that wanted him out, and history now looks back at Nixon as being this useless, worst president ever. But
yeah, just frames him in a certain light.
Like, let's take a look. Let's take a look at other sources of information and see what that tells us.
Man as a self-governing thing. Remember I was telling you, like, law in the hands of man can do anything. Like big money, big pharma, big interest can manipulate the narrative however they want. There's no rules. There's no rules. We're living in a lawless society. We really are. It has a pretense of, we got to follow the judicial process. We need to follow all these rules. There's these sort of shrined, like in America, the Constitution is legally defined as a living document. It says this is a living document. It's a living, breathing document that the founding fathers breathed the breath of life into, that helped to constitute the union of the United States. And now, I know that all sounds normal, but am I the only guy in the room that's saying, sorry, this is a piece of paper. It's not living. Like, you guys are nuts.
Well,
like,
I think it means living usually means that it can be altered. So
it exists in perpetuity. It exists.
So they could issue an amendment tomorrow that says, actually, this amendment overrides the Second Amendment.
Right. So it's a living document, but it can be altered by its fathers. So who are the real fathers of the United States? We are. People are.
Yeah.
So we all pretend that these documents rule our lives, but people can change them. Hello. Look, sounds like a racket to me. Sounds like fraud to me. Sounds like someone's gonna rot the system. Someone's gonna start taking advantage, because that's literally what it is. There's these laws that are codes, and everybody must follow them. The law is the law. It's the law. You shut up and do it. Yeah. But at the back doors, back rooms of these big legal buildings and courts, and those documents are altered and changed by who? by man. Hang on, all man is created equal. What gives you the right to change the law? And then I've got to pick up the slack.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
see how there's going to be a revolt pretty soon, regardless? I totally understand the French Revolution. You know the French Revolution, right? You had the king eating grapes covered in gold, lush parties. Then you had peasants that could barely afford a scrap of bread, children starving. That should give you a glimpse into the the pure evil and greed that man's capable of.
Yeah.
Man as
So
sovereign
in
is
the case of the French
capable of
Revolution, they
such.
were actually taking back their, like, who's to say that the peasants were these grungy little assholes? Like, they could have
No,
been true
here's here,
source code
here's the
heroes.
beauty of it. Some fat king who's called himself king is eating grapes, and there's a little girl living on the street starving who's made in the image of God, who's a daughter of God.
Yeah,
Her face, her eyes were formed in the womb through the miracle of life, and her mother gave birth to her, maybe in a sidewalk. And the king looks at her and goes, peasant. I've deemed that a peasant with my God power. With my God power as supreme ruler, king, Nero, ruler, emperor, I'm deeming that beautiful little life that I have
creature.
no
Yeah,
way of understanding or comprehending the heartbeat, the light, the miracle of life. I'm deeming that a peasant. I'll let that starve. I'll let that starve while I feast on some duck, feast on some venison. Yeah, that should give you an idea of the deludedness of the mind of the mind of man. It's really the darkest side of man. Man as ruler, man as God, is the most evil, seductive, corrupt, um, selfish, greedy. All of those
sadistic.
attributes are
Yeah,
expressed through man when man carries the light. Oh, when man carries the light of God. Oh, wait, who carried the light of God? Who's the light bearer?
Lucifer.
Right, right. And it's just like it's God in us, it's Jesus in us, it's also Lucifer in us. Do you see how
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
as above, so below? You get both. There's both expressions in this reality.
yeah.
There's
Lucifer
the
is just a term, like it's
That's
just
right.
a definition. All right, we've got to wrap
We
this
better wrap
up,
it up.
but we'll continue this next time.
Yeah. Sounds good, man.
All
Awesome.
right, brother.